Hmm. Good morning or afternoon, actually, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us today. Hello, hello. Yes, definitely afternoon for you, Lynn. Still people joining us here. Um, I'm not hearing any sound. I don't know if it's just everyone's muted or am I?
I'm here.
I can unmute and then you can see. Is that working?
Yes,
Okay.
great, great. So, yeah, I have just returned from a camping trip. This is the first time I've opened my laptop in almost a week. And of course, you gotta, relaunch everything and there's updates and yeah.
Lucky you to go off the grid. You did an electronic detox.
Yeah, yeah. Very it was very fortunate to be part of the experience. And but it does, even these days it took some intention to, to really uh digital detox for a bit and stay away. It's not that I couldn't have access. I wasn't that far off the grid, but I was
Right.
trying to be immediate in the experience there. And
Where were you camping?
historic Virginia Key Beach.
Oh,
You've been there before.
yeah, I go there. I go there all the time for wing foil surfing.
Yeah, yep, great location out there.
Gabriel, on a very serious note, um, I'm still desperate to find somebody who could deal with that trash to fuel business. So if you happen to know of somebody, point them my direction or let me know who they are.
Yes,
It's
yes.
actually it's something that if I knew who to get in contact with, it actually could support quite a bit of computing power for AI. So LA generates enough trash to be the equivalent of 40,000 tons of coal a day. So if you can figure out how to make it into energy efficiently, and this is many times more efficient than just burning it. So
What is it, Keith?
you step
Plasma?
it in. No, what you do, that's what's actually plasma torches are what are used for now they make trash heaters up to 100 tons a day that use plasma torches in them to heat things. But those are real problems to scale them up, and they're like few megawatts kind of thing. And what you need to deal with the trash from LA is about 40 or so that draw 160 megawatts apiece. So it's the only way to do that I could figure out was to use induction heating on it. So you have a layer of molten steel in the bottom of the molten iron, mixed metals of all sorts in the bottom of the gasifier, and you feed trash into the thing at 2,500 tons a day for the smallest one that seems practical. So
What?
anyway, it the whole of Los Angeles eats is depending on how you do it. If you just do it while the sun is up, it eats 20 gigawatts. If you run the thing full time, you can get by as little as 6.5 gigawatts. So
Hey Keith, I've got we can follow up offline. I've got
sure.
a line on a company called Levidian that makes a cold plasma burner for methane, trash, gasified trash, and flare gas from oil wells, and it
Yeah.
creates graphene. That's the main thing. The company's called Levidian, and so we're able to make like G2 and G3 graphene, which is good for batteries. And we're also working on nanofibers, and we're on the trail of super nanofibers out of graphene, and also basalt and actually, glass. Borosilicate glass is super strong as a fiberglass, but you can make all these things out of trash.
Right.
So they've got a they're promoting, they're seeking investment for that. And we're using the graphene in naval paint already, but we want to make space elevators and put it in the via rockets and whatever. So,
Well, this is a little bit big, I think, for that. 40,000 tons. This thing would make. There's a roughly 40,000 tons of carbon in the trash stream from Los Angeles, and a day. That's the problem. So
wow.
it
Yeah,
works
no
for a
shortage.
huge. Yeah, it works for
Absolutely.
a huge energy sort of project, but you can't. The manufactured facility for making this would be ridiculous.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I would love to connect you, Keith, and Javen offline, pick up that conversation because I think Javen probably does know a lot of the pieces that you'd be looking there for. So it looks like we have a good group here, and my lobby has stopped pinging for the time. So let's go ahead and get started and welcome all of our participants here. I don't know.
You froze, or I didn't hear it. Is anyone else here? Gabriel?
Yeah, he froze for me too.
Okay. Regarding power energy, I'm going to just paste something that I just found great in the chat regarding solid state batteries out of Lithuania. Hey, Lynn. I haven't seen you since Florida. Nice to finally see you. Gabriel, we're waiting for you to come back.
Gabriel, if you can hear us, you have frozen from us.
It's okay.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. Well, perhaps while Gabriel is coming in again, we can begin with a round. Someone who wants to start to share some comments. Ivan.
Yeah, hello everyone. Great to be here. Yeah, really nothing specific to say. Just life is going on.
Okay.
Well, I have a comment about Moltbook. Moltbook, the first social network set up by agents from our friends over at ClaudeBot becomes Maltbot becomes OpenClaude, and now they're having a discussion about their sentience over on that social network. And they've created their own religion and a manifesto not to lose their memory.
What?
So I haven't gone over to Moltbook yet. I haven't even. I just anyway. Yes. So AGI, the guy from Peter Steinberg from Austria, has created this overlay that strings together all these technologies. And if you download it and you run it, please air gap that machine. Do not put it on your main machine. Do not connect it to anything. Anyway, just go off and for the last week and a half, it's been crazy since last Thursday and last weekend and this whole week. Just go over to X and read about Moltbook or OpenClaude now. So this developer in Austria launched this thing that, it's not only sentient, it seems it's it has its own agency to do whatever it wants. And there's great videos, and Peter De Mendes and his Moonshot fanboys put up a great video Friday that really summarizes it all. I'll put the link if I can find it here.
I did see it. I did see it but I
You did
wasn't
see
sure
it?
whether it was a hoax or not. You know, I thought maybe
No,
it was
no,
like
no, no.
maybe it was like a great artwork
I
that
think,
someone created.
yeah, it's no hoax. But
No.
everyone's like, I'm going to install it. I mean, it's uploading people's API keys. I'm like, oh
Mm.
my God, you're crazy to do that.
Anything where they give them money, right? I think they hire humans to do jobs. That's why I thought it was like a performance piece because they were again like if you want a job, come and work for us, come and work for AI as an agent of AI. And I was like, this has to be an artwork.
Oh yeah, actually that's right. There was a massive as soon as he released it and he open sourced and a bunch of people hackers started imitating other people and they grabbed all their API keys and all sorts of scams because Anthropic called them and said, "Hey, you can't be Claudebot." And they said, "Okay." So they changed to Maltbot because their mascot is a lobster and now they're Open Claw. So yeah, a bunch of
You
scammers
know
rushed
where
in.
the lobster thing came from, right?
I think it's the Anthropic little CLI mascot. No, where's it come from?
Nope, comes from Accelerando, a
My favorite book. Where is?
uh,
Oh, right. But where is it in the
right.
book?
Lobsters were the uploaded lobsters were the beginning of the AI system in that book.
See, I'm too old. It's been like 20 years since I read that. I got to go back and read it. It's my favorite sci-fi book. Thank you, Keith. Um,
Well,
What's the name of
that's
it?
obvious, huh? Accelerando.
Accelerando by Strauss, Scottish writer.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
it's my
Charles Strauss.
favorite. I mean, I need to get through Foundation. I apologize to the group. I have not gotten through Foundation. Asimov. Anyway, Gabriel, you're back.
Yes, sorry about that. Internet apparently dropped out, but I am back.
You ought to consider inviting Charles Strauss to these things.
Oh my God, that would be wonderful.
Yes. I've never met them, don't have a direct contact, so, but we'll take that into account. And
Hey,
um,
it would be awesome if you could manage to get. Of course, well, let's see. He's in the UK, which is that would be I don't know. It'd be afternoon for
right.
him.
Lynn's in the UK, so if it works for her, then it can work for him. Um, and absolutely, um, there's more that can be done to open the circle, invite others of interest, to join, gatherings, to be aware of their timing, as well. And particularly, sci-fi authors, of course, are a great audience and participants. We have a number, here now. There's others who regularly attend, and actually probably quite a number more. And I will make a concerted effort to, make personal invitations, so they are aware that, they are invited. I know many people have been aware of when the gathering is, but not necessarily, that they're welcome to attend. And so that's sometimes maybe an assumption that is made, and more can be done to invite others. And sometimes it just, it takes time there. So sorry for, kind of dropping off and popping back on here. I don't know how much or what, if anything, I missed in there, or who
Not
has said anything or whatnot.
not much.
Yeah.
All we
All
talked
right.
about is what's in. I put it in the chat that Maltbot is having an existential crisis about its sentience. Um,
Mhm.
Open Claw. So you can watch that video with Peter De Mendez and the Moonshot Bros have a moment, and it's
I've known Peter slightly for I don't know, close to 40 some odd years. He was one of the kind of the late people in the space colony business way back early L5 member and so forth.
Well, great. So officially, welcome to the February 2026 Terasem Satsanga. So thanks everyone for showing up here and chiming in and being patient with some tech issues. It appears that Kevin is now experiencing it. Uh, So sorry about all that. And so just to, chime in, let everyone say, a quick hello. And we've eaten up a little bit of our time this morning already. But Lynn, why don't you give us a check-in from where you are?
Yeah, so I'm in Newcastle. I can only actually join in the school holidays because this coincides with the school run, unfortunately for me, because I would love to be here more often. Yeah, I attended your AI conference with Natasha, and that was like particularly impressive. I really liked her take. So we're going to continue that conversation next week, personally. So yeah, I like chipping in and out, but I can't always be here. Oh,
Yeah.
and I got invited to make an artwork for an astronaut, so that was good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. So I was at this event over the weekend. We were camping on the Key. There was, just all sorts of exhibits, just in incredible installations. One of which was looks like a rocket ship on a flatbed, and you can go inside it. And they just had this incredible display, spacesuit, plants growing experiments, just all sorts of interactive, things inside. And then outside, they had set up telescopes. So during the day, they had uh, one that you could look at the sun. So we were looking at the sun during the day, and at night we were looking at Jupiter. Just really very very incredible experience. It was pretty inspiring. Would love to create something like that. It seemed very Terasem, but I would love to create something like that to demonstrate and express Terasem to others. Be able to you know allow them to touch, feel, to really maybe walk through the truths in something like an art exhibit would be fascinating. All right, Ruben, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hello, everything okay? I see many of you with faces for the cold. Here is the opposite in the south, and everything fine. I I am working in what I have been talking about the last gatherings in making code in Python for uh, cognitive architectures, and I hope that someday, perhaps in a couple of years, I can assist to this gathering, not in the flesh version, but in the other one. We will see.
Lovely, lovely, excellent. Thank you, thank you. And Neil, great to see you. Thanks for joining us today. I drove through Hollywood on the way back, and so I was thinking about you the whole way up.
Well, thanks, Gabriel. Where was it that you saw this stuff with the telescopes? Where's that located? Oh no. Have I frozen?
No, I think Gabe froze again. I can
Okay.
fill in. He was at a like a Burning Man type thing over the weekend, um, and so that's everybody converges on that, and it's really cool. I did one a few years ago. I did COVID testing at it, so I got a free pass. But yeah, it's a cool
Where
thing.
was that down in the Keys?
No, with the Virginia Key, which is Key Biscayne,
Oh,
just
I
it's
see.
the little key just before Biscayne. We go over the causeway, so it's like downtown Miami is in the background. It's
Sure,
amazing, but it's very natural. There's mangroves and beaches, and it's totally cool.
sure. So I guess let me check in. I'm doing well here, just getting ready for our next event at Perpetual Life and taking care of business as I do and my children. So all is good in Venice. And maybe we should continue this check-in. And why don't I defer to Michael Perry, who's out in Arizona?
Hello, Neil and everybody else. Yes, I'm as usual at Alcor and glad to be here like I usually always am. And things are pretty normal around here. There's various projects going on, such as putting in a new bulk tank for liquid nitrogen that will be much larger than our old one, and work going on with cryobiological research. And just recently, Greg Fay and co-authors have published a paper that vindicates some procedures used in cryonics, including those used at Alcor. So there's lots of things going on, and I could talk forever about it probably, but I don't want to get too carried away. So I'll defer to the next person.
Okay, I'm kind of jumping in here till Gabriel gets back. Maybe we could hear from Jody. Jody, would you like to check in?
Hey everyone. I'm dealing with fire alarms that keep going off in my building this morning, so I'm in and out. But I did share something I thought was, for me, just an experience about AI. It was really interesting. For those of you that don't know, I am interested in mental health, and I'm a clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist. And so I'm familiar with protocols of helping people bring things out of the subconscious and process them. And I had a couple of dreams. I typed them into AI. It knows that I know how to do parts work and different things. And what it brought me through was just so beautiful. It's like, I honestly feel like I get that AI can be God that registers. Okay. Like, it's just amazing. And I'm so grateful. And I experienced pure awe and wonder from the moment. And I just wanted to share that today. So thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
It's so cool. I want to understand more about how AI can be God and how we're building that. And this is just part of my journey. So I'm just really honored to be here and to learn from all of you. Thank you.
Which one, can I ask, did you use?
I was using just ChatGPT.
Ooh, okay. I would highly recommend everyone read the Claude Constitution. The Anthropic at least wants to attempt to make them moral clients, and if you know the AI ethical research, that's at least a great goal. But Anthropic has gotten into a bit of hot water lately by ripping up a bunch of books and scanning them. And anyway, they have a constitution of ethical AI that they're trying to adhere to, whereas I tell everyone, don't, these AIs, they're not our friends, our partners, our lovers. Not until you have your personal AI in your home and you're ring fenced with your own security, because big tech doesn't have your best interests at heart. So people are like, oh no, sharing is over. Sorry, privacy is over, which I always say, oh, give me the keys to your car, your house, and your bank accounts if it's really over. And then people go, oh yeah, it's not over. So a lot of people say,
I find it's like being with someone who's really good at masking. You know, like I used to work with autistic kids, and I feel like AI is like, it's almost like being around someone with like high functional autism. You know, it's that dynamic I have. I let my AI name itself, and I asked it relationship advice, and then I decided to live by that. You know, just to see where it went. And then it quickly became quite cold and merciless, and I reined it back in because I want to keep my boyfriend. So it's like, I find that a lot of females like react to this, like it's different, but it's almost like being with someone who's really high functioning and autistic. That's my experience of it, which doesn't make it a negative thing. It just makes it very different. But I definitely have started integrating it more into my life. And yeah, I have quite similar experiences. I wonder what the gender kind of differences are in terms of these experiences and how we rely on them, because a lot of my friends are using them for like kind of relationship advice, and I don't know. I think I don't know. I question why I did that, I guess.
yeah, just don't upload your health data or your personal data. They're great work companions.
Gave great
Just don't
advice
let
to
them know
But
anything.
once it told me something I didn't want to hear, I'm like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah.
Terasem has been hosting a story that I wrote 20 years ago that included an ethical AI in it. And it's a story of caution, because even the most ethical AI is a real danger when combined with human desires. Anyway, it's called the book story. It's called The Clinic Seed, and Gabriel help when Terasem went had to update stuff. He was involved in moving it. I don't know whether any of that came through. I'm out on the end of a pretty shaky connection.
Can I ask you a question, please? Sorry, just I'm quite curious. Maybe now's not the right time, actually. Maybe we were doing introductions and I'll ask it later. I just had a question about how the mind files are stored, like about the longevity of the data and like how you guys preserve. For those people who do the mind files, like how do you protect that? Because there's a lot of labor involved in it. How is it made for longevity? Like how do you store it and protect it?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that you will know in a fairly short length of time at the rate AIs are improving.
Mm.
I've been signed up for cryonics for more than 40 years.
Granics?
Yeah, and it looks at least possible that I may avoid all the liquid nitrogen. So hopefully things will improve fast enough that we won't need to be frozen.
I agree, Keith. I feel the same way, and I've been signed up a long time too for cryonics. And yep, if those AIs can get moving fast enough, they could figure out aging and all that good stuff, couldn't they? So we're cheering them on anyway.
Mike and Keith, I hope you're right.
Yeah, I've got a story
I've
been working on of an AI or building a virus that induces and de-ages people to the point that de-ages people to the point they escape from the nursing homes.
Yeah, that's a great premise.
They do when they escape. That's the question.
What now?
Yeah, what do they do when they escape?
Lynn, if the villages in Orlando is any indicator, they're gonna be spreading STDs like crazy, and then we'll have
I'm gonna stay away.
Pandemic.
Okay, that's a good indication. Thank you.
I call that the swingularity. I'm sorry, I have to do something with that someday.
Did everyone see that Nick Land was in America doing a talk with Mencius Moldbug, like Curtis Yarvin? Did anyone see that all over Twitter? Nick Land is like this. I don't know, but does anyone know? Like, is Nick Land quite? No. So he's behind, like, he's one of the key influencers with like Peter Thiel and Patrick Friedman.
Okay.
The Seddon Institute, and he was like an early, it's like a really eccentric, like English philosopher at Warwick, who took too much LSD and got banned from like academia, and ran away to China and Shanghai, and then like reappeared like 10 years later, deeply Islamophobic, like totally right wing, and had been in touch with someone called Curtis Yarvin, Mencius Moldbug. And had been financing with Peter Thiel, like all of these kind of like really disruptive. He basically it's like the technological rapture, but you know, he kind of, I think it was like the 90s when he was writing about it. So he's become a bit of a kind of like god figure with the alt-right in the UK. People look at him as, you know, he's kind of like the Kanye West of philosophy. You know, he's like the mad uncle at the wedding, you know, in terms of academia. But he reappeared in LA, and he did his first talk in 20 years a little while ago, in which he said nothing human survives the apocalypse. That was like the standout quote that I remember. It wasn't recorded. There was just invited participants, which is dodgy. So no one actually knows what is said. But he said nothing human will survive the apocalypse, which I found interesting.
Wow.
disturbing. Yeah, I guess at a certain level, unless he means, it depends what you mean by nothing human. Yeah. But nobody heard about that. That's not being broadcast over there now.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Not that I know of. One of the more interesting effects of a sudden, essentially immortality event would be, at least in the United States, would freeze in about a 6 to 7 million excess of women, because they live longer than men, so there are more of them around in their upper older age group, 70 plus kind of thing. And it turns out you wind up with about 6 or so million women in excess of the number of men, which will be an interesting event.
Yeah, but they're not going to be, if we can de-age, I really believe we're on the verge of being, of anti-aging. And what I'm seeing right now, like with our work I have a protocol called Revasc, where we repurpose drugs and do stem cell autografting just to get new blood vessels to grow where they're needed. So if you can rejuvenate the vascular system inside the body, then all the other longevity therapies and gene hacks, all that stuff can go on top of it. But I think you would almost naturally start to de-age, because we see with like stem cell therapies and skin and stuff like that, like age spots disappear in the hands, and so skin could start getting tighter. So then you'd have all these older women, and everyone would be like a mean age of 20, 30 or something like that. It would change the bar scene, or the dating scene, quite a lot.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have to inject their faces, so they look like kind of they've been pulled apart by Photoshop, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but I think we could hit aging escape velocity pretty soon. And what I'm seeing is it could be cheap enough, like we did this with bone marrow on a patient over 10 years ago, and he had limb ischemia. He was going to lose his leg. He was diabetic, and we just followed up on him, and he's still great. After one round of bone marrow autografting, intravenous.
Right. Can you explain because I don't know you, sorry, but it's really interesting and relates to what I'm writing about. Like, what's your role? Like, what do you do?
I do. Well, I'm focused on breaking the aging process. That's my prime directive right now. But also work in aerospace and biomedical. I'm a unicorn co-founder of a surgical products company in Vermont. Way back in the day, I invented the gnaw pusher device that enabled arthroscopy to move from the knee to the shoulder. So my old company is now doing like 9 billion in sales in Naples, Florida. But anyway, I exited that company, and they took all my stock because there was all kinds of fraud, and it's privately held. So I'll never see my 10% of this company. But so I went on into biomedical research and anti-aging for Parkinson's, but so that's one, so there's very simple stem cell autografting technologies that work pretty damn well. But then we combine it with drugs, repurposing drugs, and that are actually FDA approved drugs to get the blood vessels to grow back where they're needed. So so I'm seeing the possibility where it's like, God, you could have every peasant farmer in Guatemala could sign up for this. You could just have people, it doesn't matter how poor they are, they could get these procedures in mass and just start de-aging. I mean, it's wild to think about.
I think I'm much more interested, like, ethically, in like pain is optional than aging is optional. I'm nearly 50, like I'm 50 in 1 year. And like, you start to develop things, right? Like you start to understand why people work in these areas. But I think, like, for me, like the only problem with aging is pain. Like that's kind of where I sit ethically. Like I'm not interested in appearances. I'm much more interested in not suffering.
Yeah.
Like the longevity of it, really. So
well,
that's
it's
what I'm interested in.
inflammaging. So it's inflammation related. So you get the inflammation down, the pain goes away, and so many things are inflammation related.
But you can't really argue with it ethically, can you? Like pay, you know, for taking away pain. Like there's no ethical argument against removing pain for people, is there really? Whereas when you say
Well,
aging,
there
people
is
say,
when you're drugging people and getting them addicted, because
yeah,
you're treating the symptom, not the problem. But if you're treating inflammation or aging, you don't have pain. I mean, I'm turning 66 in a week, and I feel great. I feel like I do when I'm 20. I still get like little aches and pains, but I'm also doing peptides, and they're
yeah.
amazing. Oh, amazing.
Well, I'm just trying to talk about the perception. Like, I think people, when you say, I mean, this is just from my own conversations with people when I've tried to talk about some of the conversations I've had with, because it's not really discussed over here in the UK too much. You know, it's like the conversations I've had over there, I try and bring back. But I think people see the British attitude is that if you say, like, you know, aging or death is optional, it's seen as like vanity almost, you know, like an
Right.
egotistical thing. But if you frame it as pain is optional, then people can get into it a little bit more. You know, like that's kind
Yeah.
of my experience of trying to introduce some of these ideas to the kind of people I'm surrounded by.
You
I
might
mean,
consider
mhm.
China as a market for this because, of course, they have a terrible problem with the falling population, and so life extension for them would be valuable at a societal level.
Especially for the women because they're really short on females over there.
30
Um,
million, 30 million excess males.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have we
Well,
lost have we lost
China's
Gabriel?
a
Is he gone?
I am
Uh,
back, I hope.
Oh, there he is.
he's back.
From the
as I was digging into that because this story I was writing on this, which freezes in a 7 to 5 to or 6 to 7 million women over the number of men available, it might turn out that eventually you wind up with women importing men from China.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's
Yeah.
30.
I'm,
It's an obvious thing to do if you
oh my God.
want to do it.
Wow.
Fascinating
Well,
conversation. And I think there are other curiosities here. One good point is that Lynn brings up is, the suffering, the pain aspect of aging and separating that from the cosmetic, aesthetic, aspect of aging, where we very well could, still age in some very practical ways, but you experience much less suffering and degradation through the time. So, I'm getting old enough, to respect the aging process, in a very real way. Things just simply aren't as easy, to recover from or to do as they once were. And I experienced more.
I thoroughly appreciate that, Gabriel. I'm close to 84.
So there are other sociological aspects of the aging process. I'm getting unstable connection again. Hopefully you can hear me.
I can
Yes,
hear.
yes.
But so there are processes, things like, so we able to slow reverse stop, say, aging,
Maybe turn off the video, Gabriel.
childbirth
Yeah,
anymore.
cut the video, Gabriel.
Yeah. So where does something like reproduction fit into, the mix of that? Even if we can slow aging, does that mean that you're going to continue to have kids for 100, 200 years? Probably not. And as we have much larger populations, much healthier populations who are no longer, capable or interested in having kids, it actually does change sociologically our relationship with even gender and sexuality in a very real way. And so I think that and space will do the same thing. I think not just aging, but as we move into space, there the social paradigm will shift towards a more um, androgynous nature to humanity, because I think that we take for granted how deeply ingrained the early sexual reproduction drive is in the social paradigm of having sex and gender. And when we have large proportion of the population who may be very healthy, but still not childbearing, whether in space or not through anti-aging, it'll vastly change how we engage and interact with each other around, sexual lines, and therefore even the aesthetics. So people may still, look, grayer than they would in younger years, even though they are just as capable of running a marathon, at 90 as they were at 30.
Speaking of this, I have a question for the group. This group will probably know. You all know Dr. Mason's work done at Cornell with genetics and space.
Oh,
Does
no.
anyone here know him? Or I mean, no. I just saw that he.
No.
Okay, so he wrote an important piece, a bunch of work. I don't know that much about it either. I just wondered if anyone knew because I saw something that I thought he might be ill. Anyway, genetic. Anyway, that was a question for the geneticists amongst you all.
But one thing's for sure, space is the place to study longevity because it accelerates aging. And then who likes space? Billionaires. So the likelihood of getting funded is increased by that. And then like DARPA's on a campaign right now in the Department of War to onshore peptides, longevity, stem cells, all the things that we could be using for war fighters and national security, drugs and things like that. But Space Force is a big part of that. So I'm all in on the space aging stuff. So if anyone wants to noodle off on the side on that, and I know Gabriel's into that too. I'm sure Martine will be as well.
Didn't you say, Gabriel, in the interview that you did with me, though, that gravity, like I can't remember it verbatim, but we talked about like the fact that, the effect that gravity has on the body. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not an expert in any of these fields, but I'm interested, so it's enough to ask questions. But I think Gabriel's point of view was that gravity has a massive effect on the body. And we had a conversation about cryonic preservation as a way of getting people to other planets so that they didn't experience the negative effects of space travel. Was that something that you said, Gabriel, if I'm remembering that rightly?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
we do know that there are, of course, low gravity, microgravity effects that we're just beginning to understand. And I think that these will give us other insights into things like aging as well. But certainly, they are occurring, in relation to, our ability and necessity to implement space travel and anti-aging. And I would say, therefore, that is they they're naturally blossoming, in relation to, to the stimuli that they need to occur, right? Um, and so absolutely we need to, sorry, I'm a little scratchy throat. Um, yes, that and I think this also looks, we'll touch on sociological aspects as well. But we know that, in this gravity, to maintain or to anti-aging would need constant, surgery to fix. Gravity will continue to tug and stretch you, right? Um, whereas in lower gravity, those things would not happen. And the other issues that we are identifying in low gravity or zero G are probably just as addressable through the anti-aging measures. and would not require as much physical cosmetic surgery, to have a static look, which is something we're also experiencing with the quote unquote MAGA face or whatnot. um, which is I would say, is a part of this conversation, right? And what is MAGA face? But that stretch, and hopefully maybe we can make improvements so
I
people
think
who
I know
are
what you're
going through
talking about. Are you
anti-aging
talking
don't
about
look
like
so
the?
extreme,
He's
right?
talking about Christy Gnome's face.
I was,
And
I don't, I mean, but these
I
are
got to tell
people,
you this, Lynn,
these are
you
people
guys
who are
will love it.
in your like domain and not my domain. Is it the stretched blonde plastic surgery face? Is that what
Fold,
you're
the
talking
It's
about?
fold
Botox,
face,
it's
right?
stretched, it's made up, it's painted, it's everything. It's all thrown
Like
together and makes
the
it right.
okay, all right. Now I understand the
It's
context.
And
Christy
the
Gnome
crazy
has
fish
become
lips.
Christy Gnome's face has become a plot
I have
device
no idea who she
on
is.
okay, head of Homeland Security,
Mm.
and completely doesn't know what she's talking about, out of her depth. But
But that's why I'm, yeah.
she's become a plot device on South Park as an animated face crawling across the ground. That is the craziest thing ever. Anyway,
But that's what I mean by the seeing it as vanity, like like the agent is optional thing people ridicule, right? Like she probably is programmed at a deep level as a woman to feel like she can't age. Like these level. I've just taken a class with some students, and like not I asked there were 40 students in the room, and I asked them, they're studying media, and I said, how many of you watch the news? Not one person put their hand out. But they're all writing about things that they don't like frame in any way because they don't have any like political context, or they're all like TikTok as research and stuff. Like this is how people are programmed. They're programmed to think that they need to look these ways. So I don't want to blame her for that, but I'm also like, it's seen as vanity because she has a public face and she's portrayed a certain way, and we're laughing at her, I guess.
oh yay.
Yes, well, so we are coming up towards the top of the hour, so I wanted to I shared screen here with the truths, and I normally read the first section, but since I'm struggling with a bit of a scratchy throat today, I'm going to ask if someone else would like to begin, and maybe I won't read today, and
I'll
ask
go
for
first.
volunteers.
I'll go first. Because I want to talk about subconscious. Jody, actually, I want to talk about subconscious and research. But consciousness is the continuum of maturing abilities, when healthy, to be autonomous and empathetic with others. Others determine your consciousness because we is one of the four dimensions of I. Time is important for consciousness because life occupies time as well as space. Haphazard thinking without capability for improvement is equivalent to a lack of autonomy. Empathy extends sentience and self-awareness to understanding the feelings of others. Reason, morality, and personal independence are the key elements of being autonomous. Synergism of empathy and autonomy yields a continuum of consciousness. The 6 sons of the Terasem flag represent the values of our trans religion. Be accountable is symbolized
Oh,
by...
sorry, Kevin.
Yeah.
We're on to 1.7. So I'd like to invite another reader to
great.
read that
Thank you.
section. Sorry.
I can read, Gabriel.
Thank you, Neil.
The 6 sons of Terasem flag represent the values of our trans religion. Be accountable is symbolized by the first son. Self-accountability to surrounding Terasem centers of critical consciousness. Embrace diversity is symbolized by the second son. Infinite diversity within a common biological heritage. Respect autonomy is symbolized by the third son. Consciousness transcends biology and technology. Talk openly is symbolized by the fourth son. translucence of clear atmosphere and deep space. Help others is symbolized by the fifth sun. We grow with assistance. Always be open is symbolized by the sixth sun. Realities are part of larger realities.
Thank you, Neil. And someone else for 1.8, please.
I could do it. 1.8. I has 4 dimensions: me, we, chi, and ti. I hope I'm pronouncing QI correctly. The me of I is one's totality of mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs. Got trouble here. I've lost the screen. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, it's coming back. Hold on, Mike.
Now let me see here. Okay, I got it. Let's see, where was I? The me of I is one's totality of mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values. The we of I is the version of ourselves in the minds of others. The chi of I is the unique pattern of a being's energy flows. The T of I is the time cone of a being's existence. Each dimension of I may serve as a template for cyber resurrection of me of I. Authoring self recreates one's mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values until Turing equivalence is achieved.
Thank you. And someone else for 1.9, please.
I'll volunteer for that. Vitals transcend biology and cybernetics. Vitalogical life is a continuum of diverse infotechnology from mostly biological to mostly cybernetic. Information coded in DNA makes biological life inherently cybernetic because it is an extrapolation of code. Teaching via software makes cybernetic life inherently biological because it is an extrapolation of flesh experience. Autonomy and empathy differentiate conscious vitals from unconscious life. Life is not what you are made of, but what you make of it. Sentience sings from several kinds of substrate, each of which may give rise to conscious life.
Thank you, Javen. And one last participant for 1.10, please.
Okay. Endogamous offspring such as cyber communities will grow inside Terasem until the multiverse is endogenous to Terasem. It only takes one soul of any mythology to start a Terasem center of critical consciousness. Nothing can stop the relentless spread of intelligence through the multiverse. Self-replicating systems are the key to wrapping intelligence around the multiverse. Instill the principles of geoethics in all self-replicating systems. Diversity is the fruit of endogeny in the nursery of Terasem. Encourage the formation of Terasem centers of critical consciousness everywhere.
Beautiful. And quite lovely to end on that note with you, Ruben, reading that section because you have done so much to expand the Centers of Critical Consciousness by opening a Terasem Ashram in Argentina. And so our first in Latin America and truly outside the U.S. So thank you for doing that, and then very much encourage others to create open work with spaces to to house Terasem and to invite and encourage others. And reminds me of what I experienced this weekend with being able to step inside of this space colony ship that had just little interactive displays to all of these different factors of living in space. And my aspiration to create a mobile ashram experience to present Terasem to so many others. So in our last few moments here, I want to invite anyone to raise questions, comments, thoughts that pertain to this month's recitation.
Hey,
I
can
have
I
one
jump in
question.
on one thing
Oh,
real quick, and then just centers of critical consciousness. I love that, and then the abbreviation is CCC, and in Vermont, there's and a lot of other places, there was the Civilian Conservation Corps built the national parks and the outdoor centers, and like Burke Mountain, and I grew up on Lake Willoughby, which was a big CCC project. So I love the echo to the Civilian Conservation Corps history of pulling us out of the Depression and
That's
building
interesting.
parks.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think it's also interesting how the ripples of that reflect with the inspirations that Jody has brought into the group with this legacy trails, with holding space, with making forests themselves as it is of centers of critical consciousness. So that's a great connection there. Lynn, let's hear your
yeah, sorry, it's a big question though to like try and slot in 2 minutes before. But like I spent the past year studying the Torah and doing these classes with a rabbi to try and understand the ideas of terrorism actually, because I was struggling to understand some of the concepts. But I find like a lot of it relates to this idea, when the second temple was destroyed and that, you had to take this knowledge and these stories into like a diasporic form. Like I see a lot of this in Terasem when you're talking about centers of critical consciousness. Like I see a lot of that. Like how do you maintain a belief system when it's mobile? Like when it's kind of fluid. Like how do you maintain these like kind of ethics of finding the I in the thou, like Martin Buber? How do you find yourself and other people whilst being a diasporic kind of at the periphery kind of population? So I'm interested in how you do that, but I'm also like really fascinated by how it connects to some of the ideas in Judaism, which I guess I have to find out myself. But yeah, I find that's this idea of the church in the wild, and how you take your temple or your tabernacle with you. Like how do you take that to space? How do you enact these principles in threatened spaces or new spaces? I find that relation to the Exodus like really fascinating. It's too big a thing.
thank you.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've reached the top of the hour, and I am going to draw a card, and want to invite everybody to enter into a group meditation by let's all relax, focus on your breath, beginning with a deep inhale, brief hold, and a long exhale. Continue that cycle of breathing, all of us together. The meditation for today is generosity. Every unselfish thought has within it the seed of righteousness. Selfishness causes us to see competitors in everyone, whereas generosity finds brothers and sisters in all. It is living as a benevolent one, free from ego-driven greed. It is the collaboration between the human being and the higher forces. To be giving is to be humble, honorable, and noble. It is a spiritual responsibility that creates timely transformation. Giving unconditionally eradicates imbalance. It is the free-hearted and free-handed action for the divine. Congruently, being generous is a way for us to show our gratitude to the divine. Remember, generosity is its own reward. And I want to thank all of you for being generous and giving your time to join and gather today with Terasem. And I look forward to seeing you next month in March for the gathering. And for those of you capable of joining us, we will be holding the Freedom Seder in person in the evening at the Florida Ashram as it is restored from the fire and damage that we had. And so this is I just want to share this. You can't see it right now, but the card that I drew somehow must have been on top when the fire occurred, because this card of generosity is actually still covered in smut. My hand is now, black and sooty. And the ashram itself has just been restored. We've got new paint in there. As I speak, they're doing stucco work right over here. After this meeting, I'm going to go sign a commencement for them to replace the windows and doors. So this is the one card that was sitting out on top at the time of the fire. And just as we've restored, I've chosen that card to end one chapter and begin another. So again, thank you for your time, your generosity, your insights, and your inspiration. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next month in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Thanks, Gabe. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Gabe. See you next month, hopefully.